I'm 28 years old. I still live with my mom. I do not have a driver's license. I do not have a college degree. I have never had a job that went beyond the scope of entry level. I've never had a career. All these are things that I thought I would have achieved by now or would have initiated or started at this particular moment in time. By now, I should have done some degree of each of these things, and yet I have not. The truth is, I'm not the person that I imagined I would be at this point in time. Looking back at the high school me, if you told high school me that this is the position I would be in X amount of years from now, I would have said, that's an absolutely absurd assertion. You're crazy. That's what I would have told the person who told me that. And yet, the person I thought I'd become has been entirely elusive. I thought that I would have certainly a license by now, that maybe I would have earned my college degree by now, that I would have accumulated sufficient experience, whether volunteer or paid work, to warrant me earning a high paying position or getting some type of launch pad to a career. And yet, I have not done that. I thought that maybe I would have my own place by now and be financially successful enough to sustain my own wants and needs and to have some autonomy, something that I haven't really experienced to the degree that I would like. The person I thought I'd be by now, I thought that I would be a lawyer. That's my lifetime aspiration, is to be a lawyer. And it seems so distant. That goal seems so far away, so complex and beyond my capability at this point in time, given the circumstances. If we go by the circumstances, it seems like it's an impossible feat, an impossible goal. And looking at the high school me, what I accomplished throughout those years, being an award winning mock trial competitor, winning multiple speech contests, and advancing to the state finals of a contest that began with 900 student speakers, winning first place in the state for business finance category in the competition DECA, and advancing to internationals. I mean, I literally won first in my district, first in my state, and then went to the international contest in my first and only year of doing it. I demonstrated aptitude throughout my high school years. Certainly, someone who's capable of doing those things, of achieving success in the field of argument through mock trial, and achieving success through public speaking contests, and accumulating knowledge in an area that I previously possessed none, business finance, and utilizing that knowledge to earn me high placements in an intense, fierce, competitive environment. I did those things. I demonstrated that I had a high aptitude to achieve, and looking at those accomplishments and comparing them to where I am today, someone with no money, someone with no degree, someone with no place of their own, someone who's morbidly obese and out of shape, I feel like those achievements are antithetical to the person I am today. It feels like someone totally different achieved those things, and that my name is just a placeholder, and that I'm taking credit for something that someone else did. It doesn't even feel like it's me who did those things. And I do gotta say that there have been instances over the years where I wasn't proactive enough, and the standards of my life began to deviate from the norm. And that's because of several detours that I never truly planned, just sort of happened. And I'll give two as examples. One is when I was a high school dropout. After my sophomore year of high school, I dropped out of high school. I was a dropout for 2 years, put on lots of weight, started journaling to document what I was feeling at the time, and that's interesting to look back on. I ended up getting an entry level job, the first one I ever had, at Dollar Tree stores in my local community. And I used that job as a launch pad to rebuild my confidence to return to high school someday. I started accumulating savings so I would have enough money to sustain myself and finance what I need to finance. When I returned to high school, it felt like just this overwhelming burden because I had been gone for these 2 years, and outside the job, I had socially isolated for the most part. Aside from asking customers hundreds of times a day, "Did you find everything okay? Hi, how are you today? Well, you have a wonderful day. Have a marvelous day. Have an excellent day. Have an amazing day. Have an awesome day." It sounded so robotic and monotonous, and I didn't really have any opportunities to express the true me during that time. So that's one period, is when I was a high school dropout. It was a detour. It's not one that I actively set out to do. It's not something that I woke up one day and said, "You know what, I really need to do this." It's something that happened due to unforeseen circumstances. It happened as a result of my irrational reaction to uh, an incident that happened. And I actually talk about that in a different video. It's at the beginning of my channel where I talk about my dropout period. But I actually uploaded one recently too. So yeah, I have a few videos on my channel where I talk about my high school dropout period. If you're interested in looking at that and learning more about how that experience transpired. As a final note on the issue of having detours that never expected, I want to draw your attention to the manic episode I had my junior year at university. This is an episode that those of you who watch my channel are well familiarized with by this point. But for those of you who are new, I suffered from a 6-month long bipolar manic episode. Over the course of that episode, I experienced delusions, I experienced hallucinations, I was hospitalized multiple times, I lost relationships, I lost jobs, I lost my education, and I lost my sanity. I lost who I was. I lost myself. That was the other significant detour I took. And if it weren't for that detour, I would have finished my last 2 years of undergrad. I would have been in law school by now. I would have been graduated from law school by now. But life had something else in store for me. Life had something else planned for me. And suffering that manic episode was part of my experience. I cannot change that, as much as I would like to, because it was traumatic and it was so impactful on my life in such a negative way. Fortunately, I've been able to recover to an extent since this episode has happened. It was, in many ways, the hardest year of my life because of all the consequences that had so readily piled up. And the depressive years that followed weren't much better. They were just harmful in a different, more distinct kind of way. I experienced racing thoughts, once again an overwhelming burden of despair, feeling like my life was over. So high school and manic episode, those are two examples of detours I've had that have kind of knocked off a few years of my life. And that took me time to recover from and stabilize from. And I did recover from them. I did stabilize from them for the most part. But those traumas are always going to stick with me. They're always going to be in my psychology in some way. My central command center is not just going to forget these things and move on entirely. And so that brings me to the last thing I want to say is, and that is, my life, when you look at it, it might appear to some to be a failure. I have lived a life of a failure. I don't agree with that. I do not concur with that sentiment. I do believe that my life is in its current state unfinished, and there's progress to be made. There are advantages I have that I can capitalize on. There are opportunities that I can maximize. There are situations where I can be more proactive in order to improve the tangible circumstances of my life. And it's my intention to facilitate and set out and do all those things. And it makes me think, maybe, just maybe, I don't need my life to be like I imagined it would be by this point. I don't need to be that perfect, polished product that just came off the conveyor belt and it was already done and complete. It never had any issues or defects and went to market, got sold, got used. And I actually don't really like that analogy. I don't like thinking about myself as a product, but we'll go with it since I've already done it. My point is, as one of my friends from high school would say a lot, not all that glitters is gold. We're bound to encounter hardships in life and setbacks and hardship, which requires us to summon inner strength. It requires us to build up the confidence to overcome. And that's exactly what I've set out to do. It's what I've done in many instances. So even though I'm not the person I imagined I would be, I don't consider myself a failure. But I do believe that my life in its present state is unfinished. I can still become a lawyer. I can still get my college degrees. I can still own my own place someday. Not an apartment, but my own home. I could still have my goal of having a dog someday and having many cats and a girlfriend and kids and a family. Something that provides me with a sense of purpose that's greater than myself. These are all things that are still attainable. It's just a matter of being diligent and committed in the pursuit of my goals. I think of the Latin phrase, finus coronat opus. The end crowns the work. The goal that we pursue makes the hard work worth it. The hard work we do to get there to that end goal, it is worth it because of the feeling that end goal instills. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button down below so that more people can see it. And feel free to share any thoughts down below in the comment section. I do my best to respond to all comments that I can. And with that being said, love, light, and tranquility to all.